Going to share with you some information about us and again, what makes us different from all those other education providers out there. So first of all, I want to thank you for joining me this morning. It's a nice rainy Saturday morning, so it's just a perfect time to do a session like this and introduce you to our school. So first of all, I'd like to welcome you and say I hope you enjoy this session. Again, I do have a box open with your questions that will come through, so if you do have any questions, please send them through. And if I don't get to them as you ask them, I will ensure that I do read them at some point during this session, and I will answer them, all of them. So it doesn't matter what you ask, I will answer them. So my name is Kevin Arujo. I'm a professional trader, and I'm also the head professor here at White Oak University, White Oak Trading University. And my educational background, I grew up in the city. I live in Canada. Grew up in a pretty big city next to Toronto. I was educated in business, and I took over a family cleaning business many years ago. I ran that for about 13 or 14 years. Learned a lot about people, learned a lot about business, learned a lot of things about human nature and so forth. But one of the most important things I learned was about myself and what it was that I wanted in life. Because waking up in the morning to an alarm clock and jumping out of bed and not looking forward to the day was a way of living that was way too was becoming way too comfortable for me, but wasn't something that I wanted. And like many of you, we go to jobs, we deal with clients, we deal with staff, we deal with, bosses and coworkers, and it's just not the type of lifestyle that we want. We work our butts off to make as much money as we can to support ourselves, and somehow the money just gets trickled out of our accounts as quickly as it comes in, and we don't lead to much of anything. So I got to a point in my life where I realized that I had to be a little bit smarter. Instead of making money and then spending the money, I had to make that money and invest it. So I started spending time investigating and doing research on what it was that some of the more wealthy people in the world are doing with their money. And so I came to realize that wealthy people invest in real estate, in business, and in the markets. And so I started educating myself. I started reading some Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, which I know many of you have done the same. Started reading the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. Learned about real estate. I actually got involved in real estate investments. Focused a lot of my attention on real estate investments. And then it was time to learn more about the markets. And so when I wanted to learn about the markets, I thought to myself, well, do I really need to become a professional trader to understand the markets, or should I just hand my money over to an investment company and let them manage my money for me? So when I started to do some investigative work, I realized that the world's richest people have money in, being invested on their behalf, but those investment companies, those hedge funds, they don't necessarily invest or manage money for those like me and you. Now, I'm not sure if you are a wealthy millionaire or not, but I'm assuming the vast majority of you are not, nor was I. And I came to learn about certain rules that the government has put in place to make sure that people that are not millionaires do not have access to money managers who can actually potentially bring in better returns than what is normally made available to your average person. So when I realized that, I said to myself, well, this is no good. I mean, Real estate's a great way to make an income, but then you got to deal with people. You got to deal with the economy. There's many factors that come into play whether or not you make money in a real estate transaction. Okay, if you want to flip a property, great, but you better wish that the property is going to be sold for more than what you invested into it, which means you need a good economy. You need the economy to be strong. You need property values to be going up. And if you're going to hold a property, you need to make sure you got good tenants and do your proper screen checks and all that other good stuff. And that's not fun. I know because I've done it. So I said to myself, well, I got to learn about the markets then. I got involved in real estate, made some money with that, and I'm enjoying it, except for all the downfalls of it. So I have to learn about trading the markets. Now, the way I look at things is if I'm going to jump into something, I jump into it deep. And I didn't want to just learn about trading the markets by scouring the internet for free information, because one thing that I have learned in this life is that if you want good information, you will typically have to pay for it, because those who are offering good information they value that information because it's good and because it's not well known. And so they are typically not going to offer it for free. So I realized if I'm going to get educated on the markets, I better find a good school to join and pay the tuition and learn. So my journey started one day when I searched the internet for how to learn how to trade the markets. And luckily for me, I began my journey with a good school. The school is named the Online Trading Academy. They're probably the largest school teaching supply and demand trading. So I didn't know what I was into. I didn't know what I was up for. I just said, let's join this and see what they've got to offer. So I went to one of their free seminars. I sat down and they opened my eyes to something incredible that I never even knew existed, which was the fact that you could trade based on understanding how the institutions are moving the markets. So I was educated on the fact that the markets are very manipulated. They're manipulated by the institutions, and its sole purpose is to take money from people like you and I and put our money into their accounts. So I became aware of this. I thought it was quite fascinating. I was very enthralled. And I said to myself, all right, this looks like something I want to do, because if it's as simple as just knowing what the institutions are doing, well, heck, I can learn that. And then I'll participate in the markets and try to make as much money as I possibly can. So I took their course. Cost me a lot of money. I spent over $20,000 with Online Trading Academy being educated in the markets. I took their Forex trading course, their professional traders course, their professional futures trading course, and professional options trading course. So I took all their courses because I figured if I'm going to get into this as a profession, I want to know everything I need to know about the markets, and I want to try them all out and decipher for myself which market had the better edge, and which one gave me the better opportunity to make money. So I took all the courses, and I learned a lot about all of them. I've traded all markets. I've traded stocks, I've traded currencies, and I've traded futures, and I've traded options, and I've learned a lot about all of them. And the one that I stuck with is currencies. Okay, I've stuck with the currency market. And the reason I stuck with the currency market, and I'm going to share with you some things, and I'm pretty convinced that once you see what I'm going to share with you, you're going to realize why the currency market is the best market to trade, offers the best opportunity, okay, offers the greatest potential to make profits, is the most consistent, most reliable, most liquid, and most predictable market there is to trade. Plus, so much information is provided to us to help us make our trading easier that, it's completely, to me, completely obvious that trading the currency market is the way to go. Now, I'll tell you another thing about myself. Since I was a young kid, I remember watching a special on TV about the magician David Copperfield. and was totally enthralled by what he did. He was on a beach. He put a towel in front of his legs. He lifted up the towel. Both of his legs were there. He dropped it. He lifted it back up. One of his legs were gone. He dropped it again, lifted it up. The other one was gone. Obviously, everybody's thinking he's bending his leg upwards until he drops the towel and lifts it up again, and both of his legs are gone. And I remember seeing that and thinking to myself, wow, that's absolutely unbelievable. Is this guy really on the beach making his legs disappear? Well, even as a kid, I realized, well, that can't be true. But the amazing thing is that somehow he's convincing people that he's capable of making his legs disappear, when in reality, we both know that that can't be true. I mean, I can't do it, neither can you. And as far as I'm concerned, David Copperfield isn't any type of superhuman being. So that started me on a journey of trying to understand the secrets of magic. And the reason why I bring this up and why it's relevant to what we're doing today is because without me understanding what was really happening to me, I delved into magic quite deeply, and it began my journey of always having an inquisitive mind, a mind that looks deep into what I'm seeing to try to understand why I am seeing it the way I am, and to understand what is truly going on. And so I've always been like that since I was a young kid. And so I've always been into magic. It's always fueled my mind to try to find out why what was happening was happening. I used to watch magic videos and slow them down and watch them hundreds of times until I figured out how the trick was done. And so that leads me to where I am today. Because after I took Online Trading Academy course, all the courses, spent over $20,000, I learned a lot about supply and demand. I learned a lot about the markets, but there was a lot of inconsistencies with what they were teaching us and how the markets were actually moving. A lot of the information they provided was rock solid, but there was a lot of missing pieces that did not make trading supply and demand profitable or consistent. So it led me on a journey to find more information. And on that journey, I came across another individual that was very talented, very smart, and he delved a little bit deeper into the world of supply and demand. And I learned a lot from that great guy and his mind as well. But again, I found there was a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of information that I felt was still not being revealed to me. So I took that information and I took it one step further, and I went on a quest to figure out what was the missing pieces in this puzzle of the supply and demand trading world. And so one thing I will tell you is when I was at school, one of my instructors was a brilliant trader, really, really smart guy. And he told me about the CFTC report. You know, he was my instructor for my Forex trading class, and he told me about the CFTC report. And he asked the class, he said, does anybody know what the CFTC report is? And everybody was dumbfounded. Nobody had a clue. He goes, well, let me tell you about the CFTC report. The CFTC is a government agency that requires the largest traders trading in the markets to provide their positions on various products, various assets, to them on every Tuesday. An updated list of all their positions. And then they hold it until Friday, and then they release it to the public. Now, I don't know about you, but here I am at a school learning that the markets are being moved by the institutions, that the institutions are manipulating the markets so that they can trick retail traders into taking the opposite trades, the opposing trades that they're taking. And there's an agency that releases data providing us with the positions held by the largest traders in the market. So obviously when I heard this, I said, well, jackpot. I mean, that's incredible. If they're providing us with their positions, then we can see whether they're long an asset or they're short an asset. So I took that combined with all the information that I learned about supply and demand trading and all the information that I learned about market manipulation, and I went deep into it. And so from there, I started to analyze the markets, going back to historical charts, drawing supply and demand zones, drawing trend lines the way that I had been taught, realizing that there was a lot of mistakes with the way that I was being told what a zone is and what a zone isn't, and what a trend line is. And I worked on this problem until I came up with answers. And I'll let you know that I have come up with answers, many answers, and those answers are currently being taught here at the school. So what have I learned? What is it that is so remarkable about supply and demand trading and combining the data from the CFTC report that makes what we do here so incredible? Well, I learned some things about the markets. One of the most incredible things I learned about the market is that there is rhyme and reason for what the market does. Okay, the market moves in a very predictable fashion. All right, and it's not based on patterns, as many other education providers would tell you. I mean, yes, you're going to see patterns in the market, and that's simply because of the algorithmic trading that is done by the institutions. You know, when you have a computer software trading automatically, they have these programs that make price move in very similar fashions, but the way that price moves in these very similar fashions, it all depends on the context of what's taking place on the greater scheme of things. So without understanding what's taking place on the greater scheme, it's very difficult to understand when you see a certain chart pattern what is actually taking place. So I'll let you know something. There are secrets about the market that have been revealed, and at first when I was realizing these things, I thought it couldn't be possible that there was going to be a way that we could do chart analysis that would actually be as accurate and precise as what was being done by myself at the time. And so I tested this over and over again for a few years. And then I realized what I was doing was absolutely dead on, that the accuracy of my trading was unlike anything I've ever seen before. And so I started trading, started doing very well. I started sharing my analysis freely with everybody on Instagram, on YouTube. I had a website that I built, a blog, and I was posting my daily charts, my daily chart setups. And the following I had was quite incredible. I had people signing up for this free blog and people sending me messages, and it was just incredible, the feedback that I was getting from people. And so it got to a point where I was being contacted on many occasions by people saying, listen, what you're doing is ridiculous. We've seen the accuracy of your analysis, and we've never seen anything like it, and we want you to teach us. I had a group out east in Europe who contacted me. They were a group of, I think, 20 or so gentlemen who were a trading group, and they had been following me, and they've been watching my YouTube videos and using my YouTube videos to teach in their class. We did sessions with them. And so it got to a point where a lot of people were saying, listen, you obviously know something, because it's incredible how accurate your analysis is, and we want you to share with us how it is that you know this. And so I contemplated this very hard, because I realized what I had was extremely valuable. I realized what I had was allowing me to be able to be extremely profitable in the markets, extremely accurate with my analysis, and had great potential for me to expand upon that and become a money manager. But I thought to myself greatly about, the value of our life and the reason why we're here on this planet, and our whole purpose. And I've known a lot of people who are multimillionaires, and they're not very happy people. And I know people that are dead broke, but what they always do is help others, and they are the happiest people I know. And so I contemplated about these things many times for a long time. And then I got to a point where I realized, you know what? You have to share your knowledge with others. And so White Oak University was created. And so since we started the school, we've grown quite considerably. We have hundreds of students with us right now, and we're growing every single week. And what our students are realizing, I'll tell you one thing, many of the students that join us, I think the vast majority of them, they've been following us for quite some time. In fact, when I created the school, I was contacted by money managers who were telling me that they've been following my analysis for quite some time. So I was completely humbled, completely shocked. I had no clue because these gentlemen never reached out to me in the past, but all of a sudden they were coming out and reaching out to me. So it was quite humbling. So I started the school, and our purpose was to teach people the reality of the markets, to teach people about the hidden secrets within the markets that reveal amazing, amazing information to us that can allow us to be incredibly precise with the accuracy of our entries, incredibly precise with our analysis, and to allow us to be consistent, profitable traders. And so we put the school together in such a way that would help us to train potential traders on how to retrain the mind in order to view the markets in a different fashion than what they've been taught up until today. Because the reality of the markets, ladies and gentlemen, is that the markets exist for only one purpose. And you might have watched my videos before and might have heard me say this before, and I'm going to always reiterate this. The markets were created for only one purpose, and that's for the institutions to make money, period. And they make money by taking your money away from you. The only way that they can take your money from you is for you to open up a position that is the exact opposite of their position, and for their position to be profitable, and for your position to lose money, because whatever is lost from your account goes into somebody else's account, and the institutions want that money to go into their account. And you hear all these numbers: 90% of traders fail, 95% of traders fail, whatever the number is, it's very high. A lot of people lose a lot of money constantly. But because people are working their butt off trying to find other sources of income and other professions that they can spend their time on, they continue to press forward and try to make money in the markets. But it's a losing game. And the reason why it's a losing game is because the vast majority of information out there and education is completely skewed to have you trade the wrong way, so that the institutions take your money. Remember, they're market makers, okay? Air quotes, market makers. They're supposed to take your position when you open up a position, right? They're doing you a favor. When you open up a long, they're supposed to help facilitate that. Well, they're not doing you any favors. When you open up a long, it's probably because price is going to drop. And so they'll be happy to open up that position for you because they know when you lose, they're making money. So who comes to our school? Well, we have beginners. We have people that have never traded before. We have people that absolutely know nothing about trading. We have professionals, people who have traded for a long time that are just looking for that extra edge. And we have professional money managers who are managing millions of dollars who are members of the school. Now, what resources do we have to offer, and what different types of membership opportunities do we have here? So I'll go through this really quickly because you need to understand what type of membership opportunities we have here at the school. So we have two different ways that you become a member. One is by being what we call a basic member. And the basic membership is we're offering 3 months for $75, and then after that it's $37 per month. So it's quite reasonable. And what we offer here with the basic membership is you have access to the Arujo report, which I'll get into a little bit later. You have access to the Magic Trader portfolio so that you see exactly the positions that we have open at any time. And you have access to the observation journals as well, which I'll get into a little bit later. So this is primarily for those people that have a good trading style, they're comfortable with the way that they trade, they know what they're doing, they just want an extra edge in the market because sometimes they don't get in at the right time, or sometimes they think something's going to go down and that actually goes up. So if you're looking for some general guidance on what the market is doing, a basic membership is perfect. Because if you don't want to actually go deep into the video lessons and the classroom sessions and the homework and really go deep into learning because you're comfortable with what you do, you just want the extra edge, the basic membership is perfect for you. And then we have becoming an actual student enrollment. The vast majority of those who are with us are students. Many join as the basic member, and then when they realize, the information that we're providing is so valuable, they want to start incorporating some of the knowledge that we have and how we interpret the markets in with their own trading style, so they quickly become students and get deep into the video lessons and the classroom sessions. So when you become a student, you have access to all the resources that we have. You have access to the video lesson library, okay? You have access to the classroom sessions that we put on. You have access to the Arujo report, the market outlook videos that we do, and the observation journals as well. Okay, so those are the two ways that you can become a member with us. Now, let's say you become a student. What do we have to offer? What is so special about the university? Well, the first thing you need to do when you become a student is you come to this "What do you need to know" section of the student portal. And in here you have two options, the learning process and TradingView.com essentials. We use TradingView.com as a way of doing our analysis, drawing our trend lines, our zones, and all that sort of thing. Under the learning process, you're going to see some video lessons about how to actually learn and about how we've been taught the wrong way to learn. And I've touched upon this previously in other videos, but just to go through it really quickly. You have, in this world, you have regular schooling and then you have private schooling. And unless you've gone to private schools, you may not know the difference between regular schooling and private schooling. So really quickly, let me tell you the difference. Regular schooling is made so that what they teach students is just enough to be a member of society who will wake up, work a job, pay your bills, read the newspaper, watch the news, comprehend what the newspapers are telling you and what the news is telling you and what the government laws are telling you, but just enough so you can follow, but not enough so you can conquer, so you can rebel, so you can question, so you can understand fully what is taking place. What happens at Ivy League private schools, the schools that the super rich put their kids into, is in these schools they teach you the foundations of knowledge of everything. They teach you what ancestors, great thinkers from hundreds, thousands of years ago, what they have learned about the world, about humanity, about life in general, the great lessons that have been passed on from generation to generation. They teach you these things, and they teach you the power of your mind and how, when you finish school, it's not the end of your educational journey, but only the beginning. In private schools, they teach you how to learn, and they teach you how to think, and they teach you about the reality of the world, so that when you graduate, you are just beginning your learning. You are just beginning your journey. And so many of the students that come to us, the vast majority, have been taught the old way or the mainstream way. We've all gone to regular public schools, and we've all been indoctrinated into their systems, and we've all been given those textbooks where we read, what life is all about, and then given those tests to make sure that we've remembered what we've been told. And we weren't really taught how to learn. So the first thing we do here at the university is we teach you how to learn. We teach you the importance of learning, because the one thing that you're going to realize here at the university is we can provide you with information, but you will truly not know that information until you actually learn it. And the only way you learn it is through your experience. So we teach you we have video lessons that teach you what you need to know. We have 3 levels at the university. So when you come to the video library, you'll realize that there's 3 levels that you can enter. When you become a student, you start at level 1. And at level 1, you're given access to video lessons regarding the markets, regarding institutional supply and demand, regarding trends, on doing analysis, on the CFTC Commitment of Traders report, on trade risk management, on the types of trades, and trading psychology. So within these sections, there are extremely valuable video lessons that will teach you concepts and principles and ways of looking at the markets that will absolutely floor you. I say that because these are concepts that you've never heard of before, you've never seen before. They will be completely and absolutely new to you. And the reason being is because we do not regurgitate any educational material here. What you're going to find is something completely unique, completely different than what you've been exposed to, but will be eye-opening. Because when you see what it is that we teach versus what is being taught throughout the internet, you'll realize how what we're doing is actually representative of how the markets are actually moving. When you realize that, ABC patterns and support and resistance and, trend lines and all that other stuff that is being taught online, when you realize why those things work sometimes, but the vast majority of times they don't, you'll realize why that happens when you watch these video lessons. So the very foundation of what you start with is you start by watching the video lessons, and you take out a journal and you journal the information that you're learning from the video lessons. And then when you're done that, you're ready to register to one of our classes. And so we have classes that start every 2 months. Each class is broken down into many different sessions. We do sessions every single week. And currently right now we're just about to be done. We're going to be finishing up a class that we began back on July 2nd, Aussie US dollar daily chart. So what we're doing is, in class, we're taking a look at a currency pair. We're going back through the historical charts, going back to the beginning of the data when the charts formations are looking proper, where there was a lot of volume. And what we do is we go back and we take all the information that has been taught in the video lessons, and now we apply that onto the charts. We don't use any indicators at all. 0 indicators. Okay? We don't need an indicator to tell us what's happening in the markets. All we need is the knowledge of what to look for in the markets, and then we can find what we need to find in the markets. And so we started a class, the Aussie US dollar. We're starting to look at the daily chart. We went back in the history, and we started locating the institutional supply and demand zones. Now, why is it important to find institutional supply and demand zones going back through history? Well, because that's part of the secret of what I've uncovered about the markets, is that it's like the history of the world. How are you supposed to understand what is taking place in the world today if you haven't gone back through history to understand what has taken place in the past? And when you understand what has taken place in the past and work your way through the knowledge of history and you work your way throughout the centuries up until today, you'll have a very good grasp of what is taking place in the markets today, and you'll have all the tools necessary at your disposal to be able to trade the markets today based on the knowledge that was provided from yesterday. So in order to do that, you need to find institutional supply and demand zones, and you need to find institutional trend lines. And what are these zones and trend lines? Well, these are the zones that the institutions are creating in the markets. Remember, the institutions move the markets, so it's their supply that comes into the market that pushes price down. It's their demand that comes into the market that pushes price up. So if you know that price is coming in, the institutions are coming in at a low price and they're buying something and causes price to move up, when price comes back down to those areas, they are more than likely going to be buying again to fill in the rest of the orders that they never got filled in from the first time that they start buying. And so these are the key areas that we're looking to buy as well. We're looking to buy where the institutions buy, and we're looking to sell where the institutions are selling. And we're looking to get out of those positions when the institutions have already absorbed and opened up all the positions that they need, and they've exhausted their positions and they've become very aggressive with their positions. We know that they're about to take profits. So we get all this information, how to find the zones, how to find the trend lines, and we apply all the knowledge that we've learned from the video lessons onto clean charts. Again, no indicators, no nothing, just price action, just candlesticks. And so we start getting the students to find the zones and find the trend lines. And every week we go through the charts. And at the end of each class, I provide homework. The homework that is provided is between a certain date and another date. So for instance, if we have a chart like the dollar, we could be back in history all the way back here. And what we'll do is, if we did our work up until this date here, February 28, 2011, I'll provide another marker on the chart, like so, June 20, 2012. And it's between these two markers that the students have to locate all the institutional supply and demand zones and all the institutional trend lines. Because that is the very foundation of understanding what is taking place in the market at that time, so that we can decipher what is going to happen in the future. So that's what we do in the classroom sessions. We locate the supply and demand and the trend lines. And then I provide 2 dates where the students have to find the supply and demand and the trend lines on those charts. And so in the following class, what we do is we review. We go through the homework that was submitted by all the students. We review all the zones. If they're drawn incorrectly, we explain why. We go through it in detail. We go through each and every scenario to explain why we're doing what we're doing, the way that we're doing it. And it is through these classroom sessions that your knowledge of the markets, your knowledge of how to draw supply and demand zones based on these numerous different scenarios that get presented to us on a daily basis in the live markets, it is through these sessions that you build the logical portion of your mind. Okay? The key here is we're trying to teach you how the markets actually work. We're trying to show you how to locate institutional supply and demand zones. And with that knowledge, you'll be able to locate all the zones and trend lines, decipher where the institutions are getting into a position, decipher where the markets are going to move, and decipher where the institutions will be taking profits, so that you can get in when they get in, you can ride price as long as they do, and you can get out at the same time that the institutions are getting out. Now, it may seem like a very simple process, but it's not a simple process. What we teach here is not simple. It does take time. It does take a commitment. Just like anything else that you want to learn, it does require you to be persistent, to work hard, and to put in the effort. And so we have many students that have been doing that. And I can tell you, we have students that have been with us for 4 months, and they have already shown us that they are capable of locating institutional supply and demand zones and the institutional trend lines. And this information will provide all the basis of all the analysis that you will do on your charts, which will allow you to get in and get out of positions in a profitable way. So it doesn't take that long, but it does take work. It's not easy. So these are the classroom sessions. As you can see, we have them all here. This is the Aussie US dollar daily chart. And so once you become a student, you can review all the video lessons, and then you can come here and review the classroom sessions that we did. We have them all here. What was reviewed, what dates were reviewed. Okay, we also have the homework that was provided. And then the following week, you'll see that we reviewed the homework and provided new homework, and so forth and so on until where we left off in our last class. So these are the classroom sessions that we do. They're extremely, extremely valuable, and they, again, are a way to help take the lessons that you've learned and apply them to the real market scenarios and allow you to empower yourself by finding your own zones. Now, the Araujo report. You might have heard a lot about the Araujo report. Many people ask, what the heck is the Araujo report? Well, it's a great thing to know supply and demand. It's a great thing to know where the institutions are buying and where they're likely going to sell. But supply and demand can only provide us with so much information. So what we also do is we take a look at the CFTC report. And so years ago, I took it upon myself to think about what was the best way that I could take the data that is being provided to us for free every single week, and how can I arrange the data in such a way that it can provide incredibly revealing information to us. And so I thought long and hard, and I realized, well, listen, if I could take the data and plot it on a spreadsheet and track the difference between last week's data and this week's data, then I would know one thing. I would know whether or not they're adding to long positions, or they're removing long positions, or adding shorts or removing shorts. Okay, well, that's helpful. So I started doing that. So I started adding every single week's data. And then I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. What if I had all the data, not just from when I started collecting the data, but what if I went back to the very beginning of when they started reporting their positions to the CFTC? What if I included all of this data? Would that be able to reveal more information to me? And so I got the rest of the data. I went and received all the historical data. I inputted all the historical data. Took me a very, very long time to put together this spreadsheet. It was a work of passion. It was something that took many, and continues to take many countless hours to keep up to date. And every weekend, I work many hours over the weekend to update the information, to analyze the data. But one thing I learned was this. If you do something long enough and you pay attention close enough, information will be revealed to you. Just like watching a magic trick. You watch it enough times, you're going to start to learn. That's why a magician never wants to show you the same trick twice. Because the first time when you're watching, you didn't know what to look for. The second time, you know what to look for. You know to look at the hand that he's not waving, the one that's staying very still. You're looking at that hand to see what it's up to. You're looking at, how he's shuffling the cards. You're looking at all sorts of things that you weren't looking at the first, second, third, fourth time. And that's how things are. And so the more you do things, the more you start having information revealed to you. And so what I learned is this. The institutions don't have an unlimited amount of money to invest in the markets. It's not unlimited. Although the central banks can create money out of nowhere, it's not unlimited what their resources are when they invest in the markets. So they have points where their positions become overreached or overextended. And when their positions become overextended, they take profits. Remember, the institutions get into a position, they build that position, and as they're building it, price moves in that direction. And then when they've exhausted all the funds that they have to put into that position, they eventually need to take profits. And so I realized to myself, I said, well, hey, if I could come up with a way of tracking all their positions from week after week, going back to the beginning of when they started recording their positions, and if I can somehow program the cells to show me when positions are aggressive, meaning, they've had the highest amount of long positions that they've ever had, or they've had the highest amount of short positions that they've ever had, or the total size of both longs and shorts are the most aggressive than it's ever been, maybe I can garner some information from that. And so I did. And so then I started studying what happens when you take a look at the institution positions and take a look at every time they were very aggressive with their longs, take a look at the date, and then look at the charts and see if there's any coincidences. When they're very aggressive with long positions, what do they do? What happened with price? And I learned some incredible revealing information. And I share this information in the Araujo report. So the Araujo report is my analysis of the latest COT report. Okay, I take the data every single week and I examine it thoroughly and I plot it into my spreadsheet, and I examine what the institutions are doing. Why did they add? Why did they take away? I point out very specific things that I see with the data, whether positions are aggressive, non-aggressive, whether the momentum is shifting with the way that they're adding their positions. And I report all these details in this report. So as you can imagine, this report is extremely valuable. It requires a lot of time to put together. And not just that, but all the experience that I've built over the years of analyzing and putting countless amount of time into reviewing the data. All the experience that I have is what you are getting as students and members of the university. And so we go into detail with each currency pair that we trade. We go through gold, we go through oil. I point out what the institutions are doing with their positions. I point out specifically what is taking place on the charts. I relate it to how price is reacting from supply and demand zones, the institutional supply and demand zones. I point out very specific information about how price is reacting from zones when their positions are aggressive. And I detail what we are expecting to take place in the markets based on what the institutions are doing, what their positions are, what the market dynamics are, and what zones price is responding from. And so based on incorporating all this information and all this data, we have been extremely accurate with our analysis. And so that's the reputation that we've built. We've built a reputation, a very strong reputation, of being incredibly accurate with our analysis. And this is why we have professional money managers and professional traders as members here at the school. Some of the money managers that are managers here, they're members here, that they're just here to gain access to the Araujo report, because they've got massive positions and they want to be sure that they're in the right direction. They want to be sure that they are holding for the right amount of time, and they want to get out when the big institutions are getting out, because they've at least recognized that the markets move based on the institutions and their order flow and where they're pushing price. And so the Araujo report provides you all that information, and then we also do a video analysis of the report. It's a little summary of what's taking place and what the usual report is detailing. The usual report will always have a lot more detail. It also will explain what's taking place in the portfolio and the trades that we are currently in that we use for educational purposes. And you can find all that information in that report. And so, as I've mentioned before, we have the Magic Trader portfolio. What's the Magic Trader portfolio? Well, most of you may know that I'm also known as the Magic Trader on Twitter. That's how I started, was the Magic Trader. And now you know a little history about me and why it's called the Magic Trader. And so the Magic Trader portfolio is this. We engage in the markets to make a profit, and we use the positions that we get into as a way of teaching our students how we are applying our knowledge of the markets, of supply and demand, of the CFTC report data, and our interpretation of that data, and how we use that information to get involved in the markets and to make a profit from it. And we've been very profitable this year. We're doing extremely well. We're up over 30%. And that may not be much to some of you, but I can tell you it's a lot. And to be consistent with making good returns is what's the key here. You know, everybody can make 30%, but can you do it consistently? I mean, if we continue the way that we've been doing this year, we'll do well over 50% return this year, and we can comfortably say we'll be able to do it quite consistently every year. And the reason for this is because when you understand how the markets truly work, you're not playing a numbers game anymore. Okay? We've dispelled many myths about the markets here at the school. Many, many myths about the markets. And you'll come to realize that those are all myths when you become a member and you start learning with us as well. But the portfolio, getting back to that, the portfolio is just a way of showing you how we get into our positions, how we manage them, how we manage risk, and how we get out and why we get out. And when you start to see how it is that we manage our portfolio, you'll start to realize how we're using the information, all the analysis, to allow us to be profitable in the markets. And so we provide that. We provide our portfolio. Okay, we are not registered brokers. We're not registered agents. We don't provide financial advice. Okay, we are not registered to provide any financial advice. We're an educational company. I show you the positions that we get into in our portfolio, but we are not telling you to get into the same positions. You are to use this information for your own educational purposes. If you decide to take positions based on the knowledge that you gain with us, that is for you to do. We do not provide any financial advice. That is all on you, whether or not you take it or not. Okay? I need to reiterate that because, you know, we're based on the laws, we cannot provide you with financial advice. I get emails a lot of times, hey, I'm in this position. What do you think I should do? Well, you know, you got yourself in that position, so you should figure it out. I can't tell you what to do. But I'll tell you one thing. We have many students here who trade, and they're trading alongside us, and they're using our analysis very successfully. I have a gentleman that I'm going to be doing an interview with, and he's a student. And he's been with us for a few months, and he's a day trader, and his results are remarkable. And he sends me updates by email showing me the positions that he's taking. And basically what he's doing is he's taking the information that we're providing through our resources, and he's taking that information and he's trading off of the supply and demand zones that we are locating. And so how is he finding that? Well, one of the other resources that we have here at the university is the White Oak University Forum. This is a place where you can find a lot of information about us, news and updates. You know, the portfolios located here. We have the trade signals that are on watch, the theme trades that are on watch, which is a type of trading that mimics how the institutions trade. Student trades, they share their student trades questions, a coffee shop, and frequently asked questions. And then we also have our testimonials section here. So in here, observation journals. This is the this is the really good stuff. Because in order to find out what's taking place in the markets, you have to understand what's taking place, what has taken place in the past, what is likely to take, and what's taking place now, and that will provide what is likely going to take place. So for here, you'll see we have observation journals for gold, oil, the dollar pairs, the Aussie pairs, the CAD Japanese yen, the euro pairs, the pound pairs, the Kiwi pairs. So for instance, let me go into the Euro Observation Journal. And you'll see in the Euro Observation Journal, we have Euro Kiwi, Euro CAD, Euro Aussie, Euro US dollar, Euro Japanese yen, Euro pound. If I go to the Euro US dollar, I'll give you a little insight as to what it is that we're doing here. For instance, on August 5th, I made a post. And so the Observation Journal is me taking a look at the markets, doing a screenshot of the institutional supply and demand zones, posting them here on the Observation Journal, telling you what is taking place, showing you the zones that exist by the institutions, and telling you what is likely going to take place moving forward. So on August 5th, let's just blow this up a little bit so that you can see. Nope, that's not the way to do it. Right here, okay. So for instance, on August 5th, I posted this chart of the euro. Price was coming up here and hitting an area that we deemed as an institutional supply zone. All right. And I wrote prices hitting the daily, weekly supply zone. This is an ideal area to get in short for a move lower. So I'm just sharing information. I'm saying, based on the market dynamics, based on the CFTC report, based on looking at the positions of the institutions and knowing what they are likely going to do at this supply zone. Remember, it's an institutional supply zone. So what happens at supply zones? Institutions come in and they fill in sell orders. Well, let's take a look at the markets and see what took place. So that was when price was up here. Okay. If you take a look, here's the weekly supply zone that we located. This was a weekly supply zone. Price came up into the weekly supply zone and dropped. So whether or not students took advantage of the information that we provided, it's on them whether or not they take the information. I can tell you that there's been many people that have contacted me and said that they got in short and they've since got out. And that was quite a drop. I mean, we're looking at a daily chart here, right? But if you break it down to a 4-hour, you could see the many, or an hourly chart, you could see the many opportunities to get in here. This was the high of where price was. I believe we gave out an alert right here on the Observation Journal when price was here that this would be a great opportunity to get in short. And so I'm already in short on the Euro US dollar, so I didn't add to my position because I didn't want to adjust my risk settings. But here's where it was, okay? Consolidated, ranged until the drop took place. And so this is an example of what we do in the Observation Journal. And once you become a member, I would highly encourage you to go through the Observation Journal and see it for yourself. Okay, because this is what we do. We come in, we observe what's taking place, we detail what zones the institutions have on the charts and what zones price is reacting from and what is likely going to take place with price reacting from these areas. And if you take a look, you'll see very quickly the accuracy that we have. The accuracy in our analysis is quite unbelievable. And I say that because this is what we are trying to teach you, is how to be as accurate as what our analysis is. Now, again, I've been doing this for many years. It'll take some time for you to get to that level, but because I've already done most of the hard work for you and I'm just passing on the knowledge, you've got a great lead on what I had when I first began. So it's not going to take forever for you to learn, but it's going to require work on your behalf. It's not easy. It requires work, just like anything else in the world. But if you're serious about trading and you seriously want to learn and you're sick and tired of the educational sites that are out there that are not providing you with solid information, then this might be a great opportunity for you. Again, what we do here requires a lot of work on our behalf. We have to do extensive analysis on many markets on a daily basis. The Aruja report takes sometimes between 8 and 10, sometimes 12 hours every weekend to put together. The data has to be collected, it has to be analyzed, it has to be compared with supply and demand. We have to go back throughout the history of the data and compare what we're seeing today with what we saw in the past and see what took place in the past to determine what's going to take place now. So the amount of work that goes into this, it's incredible. And honestly, the amount of hours I spend putting together the information, if I didn't absolutely love doing this, there's no way I would ever be putting this amount of time into anything. And I don't think I've ever worked so hard at anything in my life, except for magic back in the day when I was learning to be a magician and perform for others. But that's pretty much what we offer here. We offer video lessons, classroom sessions, so that you can take the information that you've learned from the video lessons and really drill it into your minds and see multiple situations in the markets that you can learn from. We have the Aruja report providing you with an inside look at what the institutions are doing, where they're moving price, where we're likely going to have price move. We have the Forex Market Outlook videos. The Forex Market Outlook videos are incredibly useful because we take everything from the video lessons, everything from the classroom sessions, and we apply it to the real market. Okay, we found supply and demand, we found trend lines, we have a good understanding of how to locate them. Now it's about understanding what price is going to do in the real markets. So we delve into the real markets, we examine all the major pairs, we decipher whether currencies are going to be weak or strong, we find the cross pairs that are going to be the high odds cross pairs to trade based on what we've learned, and we detail what we should be trading, what the high odds are, what the low odds are, and overall what the market is going to be doing in the coming weeks and sometimes months and sometimes even years. So we go through that in the Forex Market Outlook videos. And then again, you have the Magic Trader portfolio, you have the forum, you have the market observation journals, you have the calendar here. This calendar, you can come to this calendar whenever you would like, and you can click on the dates and you can see the analysis session that we did on Tuesday. You can click on the link and it'll take you directly to level 2 classroom session. Okay, these are students that have graduated from level 1 and now they're in level 2 and they're learning bigger secrets about the markets, more nuances, a little bit more in-depth information about supply and demand and trend lines. Okay, it's a graduated system what we have here. You start at level 1. Once you complete 2 classrooms, okay, once you complete 2 classes, each class takes 2 months, 1 session every week. You come in, you show that you're putting in the work, you show that you're doing the homework, you show that you're committed and that you deserve to get the information, you deserve to have the knowledge. Once you work and you prove yourself and you're in class every week, or you're at least submitting your homework, because we have students from around the world who can't join us when we're doing the live session. But as long as you commit and watch the video classroom session after on your own time and do the homework and send it to us, we'll review it, and if we see that you're doing the work and you're doing it well, after 2 classes, you graduate from level 1, you go to level 2. And when you go to level 2, you get more information about the markets, information that builds upon the knowledge that you gathered in level 1. You see, to understand what we teach in level 2, you must have a good grasp of what we teach in level 1. And the only way you can have a good grasp of what we teach in level 1 is to not just watch the video lessons, but to participate in the classroom sessions and to do the homework. Once you've had enough real-life experience, it'll build up the logical portion of your mind. It'll build up your skills. And once you have that under your belt, you'll be ready and prepared for level 2. And so that's the system that we have in place. That is how we help train your mind, build up your skill set to become the traders that you need to be professional and to be winning in this game. All right, so I have a bunch of questions that I see here that I will try to get to. Eduardo says, hello, Kevin. I followed your work for a couple months. It's awesome. Thank you, Eduardo. Does a basic membership help us comprehend the Araujo report? Yes, it does. In fact, let me show you something. When you become a basic member, you'll have access to the basic video lesson library. And in here, how the markets actually work, commitment of traders report, and introduction. You watch this video and it'll give you an introduction to the commitment of traders report, how the spreadsheet is put together, how to interpret the data, and so forth. So this will be extremely valuable for you to watch in order to understand the Araujo report. Addy, I trade indices. What instruments does the Araujo report include? Well, we include gold, oil. Okay, I'll show you. You might have seen it already. Gold, oil, the US dollar, the Aussie US dollar, the US CAD, US Swiss, Euro US dollar, Pound US dollar Japanese yen, and the Kiwi dollar. But don't let that stop you from doing your own, because once you learn about how to use the CFTC data, how to interpret it, then you can build your own spreadsheet and include whatever data from whatever assets you trade and use it in a similar fashion. Okay, so you don't have to let that deter you if we don't track it. You can take it upon yourself to do the same. Jason, I cannot thank you enough for all the work that you have done and continue to do, Kevin. My pleasure, Jason. Can you repeat what is offered in the basic membership? I think you got that. Thanks, Kevin, for your effort. Please consider having more focus on how to apply the concept of supply and demand for scalper trader. Yes, well, that's one of the reasons why I want to bring on this gentleman who is a student, who is day trading and is doing it extremely well, because I've never been a day trader. That's not how my mind works. That's not how I've been thinking about the markets. That's not how I was trained. But I got some great news, because I've had a lot of inquiries about how can we day trade. So I am working on putting together a system where we can day trade the markets, because there are so many opportunities in the markets. It's ridiculous how many opportunities there are in the markets. And if you take a look at the Market Observation Journal, you'll realize that we are calling the moves that are taking place in the markets constantly. The drop from the Euro US dollar, okay? The rally from the Euro Aussie from down here. I mean, there isn't a pair that we haven't called the move on. The drop on the Euro CAD from here down, Euro Yen, Euro Kiwi, what was the other one? Take a look. The move up from weekly supply, the move down from the move up from weekly demand, the move down from weekly supply. I mean, it's just remarkable how price has moved according to our analysis. So time and time again, the oil, I mean, was ridiculous. The move up from here, the move down from here, the move up from here, the move down from here. We've called all these reverses ahead of time, way before it even actually happened. We called the move down here. We called the move down here. We called the move from here. We called the move from there. So there was many opportunities to day trade these massive moves. It's just a matter of having a system in place to manage risk and to get in at the right time and know when to get out. So I'm putting together a system to exploit the markets and to use all this information that we have at our fingertips by locating the supply and demand zones, and use them to our benefit to get into positions on a shorter time frame. So we will be revealing more information about day trading these markets for day traders. I'm quite excited about it, because for a long time I've been viewing the markets and thinking to myself, we missed way too many opportunities. We've called all these moves, but we've missed many opportunities to get into short time frame positions and to profit from them. So yeah, we'll be working on that. The person that you're going to interview, how long has that person been with the school and what level is that person at? I believe that person is on level 1. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's only on level 1. And he hasn't been with us for very long. I think it's been a very short period, actually, which is what was quite astonishing to me. Was somebody, he obviously had some previous skill of day trading. He also has built up his emotional intelligence of understanding, to keep his emotions in check when he's into positions. But he wasn't very consistent. So now he's applied our supply and demand zones with his positions, and he's shocked by just how consistently he's making money. I mean, he sends me emails showing me, oh, I made more money, got into the position, boom, it worked perfectly. Like, I'm drawing the zones that you guys teach, and it's just unbelievable how price is always moving away from these zones. So, but in the interview, I'll let him talk. I'll let him tell us his story. I'll let him show us what he's doing on the charts, how he's entering into positions and so forth, because I think it'll be very valuable to learn from his knowledge. Thanks, Kevin, for your effort. Please consider. Okay, we just read that. Thank you for creating the school. Do you need a special software, or will you need MP4 to draw the zones? No, all you need is TradingView. I use TradingView.com. Very easy. And again, I mentioned when you come here, what do you need to know? And TradingView.com Essentials. Anybody who is a member of the school, not just a paying member, but once you come in and create a login and you become an official member of the school, you will have access to this page. And we have a lot of lessons here on how to use TradingView for our purposes. Okay, how to set up your charts. There's only one indicator that we use, and that's just to give us a signal when a candle one candle looks a certain way. It provides us, a very a shortcut to doing our analysis. So you just have to come up here and sign up as a member. It's for free, and you get access to this page. Go through all the video lessons that we have here, and you'll be completely set up to engage with the classroom sessions and drawing supply and demand zones just like we are. Tyler says, hey, Kevin, great open house. Been following your videos on YouTube and Twitter feed, and I've already learned a great deal. A quick question regarding the University Forum. Is that also a platform where we can share our trade ideas, interact with other traders, and get feedback on our posted ideas? Yes, sir. That's what we do on the forum. Absolutely. When you come to the forum, you'll see we have traders here. In the student trade, you go in there and you can post your trade setups. Now, what I specifically ask when you come and join, you'll see there's a bunch of rules that we have. And they're basic rules, don't act out of line, don't be rude, treat everybody with respect, and we're here to learn how the markets really work based on the core lessons that we're teaching. So the last thing I want is somebody coming in here and posting trade ideas based on harmonics patterns and ABCD wave patterns and support and resistance, because that's going to throw off anybody who's reading that from what we're really learning here. So we are using the student trades section as a way for students who have learned the lessons, applied themselves in the classroom sessions, have built up a skill set where they're able to locate supply and demand. They have a good understanding of what the COT report is saying, what the Rougeau report is detailing with the moves that are taking place. They're taking all that information and finding trading opportunities in the markets and sharing their ideas with me and with all the other students for some feedback, for the sole purpose of getting feedback on their trading idea, to see if how their thinking is correct, if how the logic of their idea is correct. And this is how we learn. So definitely this is what we use for posting your trading ideas. We have the coffee shop here where people just discuss random things. And this is a way of students interacting with each other, just through here. Please keep it high priority. The potential is huge. Regarding the day trading. Oh yes, it is high priority, my friend. Trust me, and I'll tell you why it's high priority. Because I have two different trading styles that we teach. finding institutional trade signals, which happens many times during the market, but there's market conditions that trading signals that we are specifically looking for do not present themselves. So we have something called theme trades, where we build up a position. We wait for price to come into institutional supply and demand zones. We start getting into a position slowly with small positions. We open one after another, and then as price starts to form a momentum shift in our favor, we start to build upon that position, and we continue to build upon it as long as the institutions are building it, and as long as the market dynamics are showing us that they are building that position. We continue to build our position, and that enables us to make large returns with one currency pair or with one chart. And so that works very well. But the amount of opportunities that are being missed because we are not focusing on day trading, there are just too many to count and too many to overlook. And so that's why we are taking it upon ourselves to start focusing on a strategy that will take advantage of trading off of these institutional zones for a short period of time, to make good daily returns, if not weekly returns. So many opportunities that we've had, so many, and we just can't overlook those opportunities any longer. So we are focusing on that. And, the end goal is to make the greatest returns we possibly can. So far, we're making, like I said, over 30% for the year. And that was just a very small handful of trades, theme trades mostly, that have produced those results. But if we were taking day trades off of the zones that we predicted price was going to move and reverse from, I mean, we would have been doing God knows how well right now. So, and we want to be doing that well. So it's just about putting in the time required to build a system that can be profitable and consistent. So yeah, we will be working on that, and we will be bringing that to all the students. So we got a question here. I decided once to be a member in the past, but then I gave up just because of the available payment option, which is only PayPal. Unfortunately, PayPal is not operating in our country any longer. So could you offer another payment option? Yes, I get that question asked. There are certain countries in the world, unfortunately, are not allowing people to use PayPal. So through PayPal, we accept credit cards. I guess you don't have any credit cards that you could use. I've looked at different options. There's Skrill, and there's a bunch of other ones as well. But when we did entertain the idea of using those other options, they did not look very good for our purposes. There were reasons that we decided not to go with those services, and we stuck with PayPal. Number one site for transactions of money is PayPal, and the vast majority of people are using PayPal. And those that don't have PayPal have credit cards, and you can pay with a credit card through PayPal. So you have a credit card, but PayPal is not working. Well, through PayPal, you can use a credit card. There's a credit card option through PayPal. You don't have to sign up with PayPal to use your credit card. When you just go to make the payment, there's an option for credit card, and you click on credit card and you type in your credit card information, and it's a done deal. Yeah, give it a shot, because I know that it does work. We have a lot of students that just use the credit cards. Okay. Let me see if there's any other questions. I think that's it. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been your open house for today. I really appreciate you joining. If there's no other questions, I will let you go on this wonderful Saturday. The sun is just about starting to come out outside, which is a nice sign. Thanks, Kevin. Looking forward to the September session. Yes, so if you're new members, we've had a lot of new members join over the last few weeks. If you're new, We're going to be starting a new classroom session in September. I haven't provided the link yet, but when I do, you'll get an email. But you can also come to the calendar right here, and you can look at the dates, and you'll locate the dates that we're putting on the classroom sessions, and come in. But before you do, you have to watch all the video lessons and spend enough time to understand, okay, what we're doing, and then come to the classroom sessions, whether you have the skill set or not to actually do the work. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're joining the sessions. And when you feel comfortable and ready, once you've seen enough classroom sessions, once you've seen us do it enough times, you'll start to understand what we're doing, how we're doing it, and then you can take it upon yourself to start doing it on your charts as well. And whenever you are ready, that's when you start handing in your homework. And then we'll start tracking your performance from then on, okay? Let's see. Stay blessed, Kevin, and see you on Tuesday. Yes, my man. Thank you. There was a mention about an interview. Is that happening today? No, that interview is not happening today. I told the gentleman that I'm interested in doing an interview. He said, I absolutely want to do it. Sounds great. I'd love to do it with you. I said, okay, so continue doing what you're doing. Build up a track record, because I want to show our students what you're doing and the trades that you've taken. You know, we need to have some proof of the trades that you've taken, because I think that will be very helpful for others to see what it is that you're doing and how you were thinking. So I will be putting that interview together soon. It'll be in the next few weeks where we'll do that, and then we will take whatever knowledge we can get from this gentleman, who's obviously incredibly experienced and incredibly knowledgeable, and we'll take whatever he has to offer and hopefully include what he's doing with what we're doing to build up our strategy for day trading the supply and demand zones. Okay? But yeah, the future looks very bright for the school. We've got a lot of things planned. You know, like I said, one of the directions that we're heading into is more of a day trading type of environment, day trading off of the supply and demand zones, and continuing with the education, continuing with the classroom sessions, and just never stopping the learning process, always learning, because we're always learning about the markets. We're always adding new video lessons. There's always more to know about the markets. All right. So thank you guys once again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. It's been a great morning. I appreciate your time and energy. And if you have any questions, you can just come up to the website and click on contact. The website's whiteoakfx.com. Click on contact. There's my email address. All you got to do is click on there, and you can send me your questions. All right. Thanks again. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.